You need to come back to Enlisted right now. Have you seen this? This is awesome. Like, how would you not want to come back to the game after seeing this? Like, seriously, come on. If you're sitting there debating whether to come back to Enlisted, then the answer is yes. Because after reading this and seeing this update, it just makes no sense why you wouldn't come back. Like, honestly, so many things in this update have been addressed in this singular image, or just with the news release that was with it. It's absolutely insane. The fact that so many things were addressed just means this game is going to massively improve in the near future. And I'm telling you right now, that is my prediction for 2023. But we should also mention that there are things that developers have brought up in the news release itself that aren't actually on the image of the roadmap that are so important to bear in mind. For example, in this roadmap we have included only the greater goals. Other than that, we'll keep working on, and they list a number of awesome other things that they should be working on, and I'm super glad to hear that they are, such as soldier AI, animations, damage models of armored aircraft and vehicles, and perhaps the most important thing out of the lot, they will try and solve the issues that have arisen to the leveling and dividing of enlisted players between the campaigns. This is absolutely amazing to hear. I cannot tell you guys how in love with that singular phrase I am just reading it right now. I'm actually more hyped about that than the new progression system that they mentioned. But don't get me wrong, I am still very hyped about the new progression system. The whole reason I'm mentioning this is just so you all know that the things that aren't actually on this image are actually being worked on. It is such a relief to see these kind of things from the devs and hear what they have to say about them. Obviously, they're not really going to tell us what they have to say about them, but the fact that they're saying that they're going to address them, or at least it's in the back of their mind at the bare minimum, is amazing to hear. But now back onto the image. Now, I've seen people believe that all of these arrows and columns are suggesting that each of these things in a column are going to come out in Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. Problem with that, though, is that we're almost halfway through Q1, so there's almost no chance that's going to be the case, but it could be. I could be very wrong. They could stuff everything out, like, in the first left-hand column, all in, like, the next month or so, in which case, fair enough if they do that. I will be so impressed if they do that, but I wouldn't expect it, especially as you know that Darkflow like to delay their updates quite a lot, which, honestly, I don't think is a bad thing. If they're going to delay an update because they don't think it's perfect or they're not ready to release it, great, do it. If you're not happy to release it, don't do it. If you don't think it looks good, then don't release it yet. You know, I'm happy with that. I don't care. But let's just dive straight into the key talking points. There are some which are covered up, as you can see, which adds so much intrigue. And like the way they did it as well, I'm impressed. The art they do is quite cool. I'm not going to lie to you, I do enjoy it. Now, I'm not just suckling at the teat of Gaijin and Darkflow, I swear. But the first thing listed, new class with unique mechanics. Now, I've heard this could be a variety of different things, although the only real plausible one is something like an officer class, which I've heard many things about, including the fact that that might be where rally points go. Like the officer's class main mechanic might be to just build rally points, and they might take that away from an engineer, because engineers have so many other useful things already that engineer is just the best class in the game. Problem with this though, is if you do that, then the officer class will literally become the best class in the game overnight, because of how vital rally points are to the game. And if you don't know how vital rally points are, then you need to go and watch this video on screen now. They are literally the sole factor that will help you win games in Enlisted. But if we assume that is the case, then I don't really know what the other new unique mechanics would be. Although, in fairness, they didn't say new mechanics, they said new class with unique mechanics. So if you look at the wording a bit more carefully, that could just imply the new class is an officer and the rally point is the new mechanic. Well, not that it's a new mechanic, but you get the idea. I'm saying the wrong words all the time. I'm doing this in one take because it's a very different video to my normal ones. I know, I acknowledge, yeah, this is like on the cuff, you know? We're doing this together, yeah. You hear me live, boys, you hear me live. And if you want to see me play the game live and give my opinions on it and help any of you guys with any of your questions, then make sure you head over to twitch.tv/MajorMcDonalds. There's a link in the description for you. And also my brand new professional podcast called The Rally Point, which is coming soon, and we'll have some amazing guests on for the first episode. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be hype, so you don't want to miss it. Make sure you're followed over on Twitch and subscribed on YouTube so you know when it's coming out. But yeah, this new class could be a few different things. That's my prediction. I could be very wrong. Obviously, this is so vague, though, you know, I could sit here and speculate for like 10 years if I really wanted to, but in order to keep the video relatively short, I won't. New battlefield in Normandy is listed as next. Now, honestly, this could be such a wide variety of things. If you saw my video on what 3 campaigns 2023 might bring to Enlisted, which you can see on screen now, then you'll probably remember I listed a number of awesome maps that could be for the invasion of France by Germany initially, but there are so many options here that could be, you know, replicated over on the Normandy or brand new things altogether. There's so many things. A lot of people have been talking about something like the Battle of the Bulge. Imagine if they had that. Like, I think that would be a prime and perfect time to add it to Invasion of Normandy. Yes, it's not in Normandy, Does it matter? No. As I said in the news release description, they are trying to link the campaigns together and reduce the impact of splitting the campaigns across, so many different queues. And honestly, it makes a lot of sense. And I'm not saying it is, but it could be, It's just a complete speculation. I could be very, very wrong. Part 3 is announce something. Now, they've added that and they've tried to, hide it. So obviously, I have no idea what on earth that means. People can speculate, but let's face it, they're never going to know what it means. The funny thing is that they've kind of put an E. Now, honestly, that could be announce France, which I did actually predict would happen this year in this video. But I could be very wrong. I'm trying to guess how many characters they could fit in that space that they've kind of blurred out, blanked out, whatever you want to call it. It could be. Do I think it's France? Probably not, but it kind of could be. But although it probably isn't, because later on in this dev blog, in this picture, they've talked about new campaigns. So I don't know why they'd blur this one out if it's pretty much the same. Anyway, could be France, could be something that ends in NE is what my prediction is. Wait, hold on a second. France has a CE. Oh, well. Okay, well, there you go. That's why I script my videos and don't take them in one take. You heard it here first, lads. Well, across the bottom, by the way, it's new Battle Pass season and several big events. Now, I know they've talked a lot about this. The devs talked a lot about this. The official Enlisted helpers also talked a lot about this. So if you want to talk to them, then make sure you join our Discord server. There's 4 of them in there. It's amazing to have them. We're so lucky to have them. So thank you them for all joining and for answering our player bases and our community's questions. It's just amazing. It's just amazing to have those people around. So the new Battle Pass season, there's still going to be 4 of them, and it's still going to be in Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, because that was the initial plan. And that was always going to be the case anyway, but I don't know, just looking at these things at the bottom now, I'm hyped, what's going to be in the new Battle Pass season? I've no idea. Maybe it's going to be some awesomely cool stuff, and that's what I'm hyped for, because honestly, as soon as these new weapons and stuff come out, I will make a video on them so I can cover them all for you guys, so don't you worry. And the several big events do make me hyped as well. I have no idea what kind of things there'll be. I imagine there'll be a lot of casual ones, as we see now, a lot of very different styled events to what we normally see in game. Recently they've been experimenting a lot with different kinds of events and different styles of events, and that's amazing. At least they're experimenting, and they'll find out what works eventually. Probably already have a good idea of what actually works. So if they keep just doing that, there's going to be amazing things, I promise. There might even be competitive events. Now, if you know how much I love participating and commentating and helping run competitive events, that makes me so hyped. That makes me really, really hyped. And please, Darkflow, if it is a competitive event, please add a live spectator mode to custom games. Please do it. It'll be amazing. You have no idea. It'll be so good. We could then stream all the games. Oh, I could be a commentator like I always used to be for other games and other esports. Oh my god, the memories are all coming back. In part 2 though, major UI upgrade. Now this could be such a variety of things. I'm actually a big fan of this. I know people have thoughts that the UI doesn't really need an upgrade, but I think it does. There are so many small quality of life things that they could add to just the general interface of Enlisted, and it does say major UI upgrade. That doesn't imply they're going to add a bunch of quality of life stuff, but it might mean that they'll add all those quality of life stuff in this new UI, which is probably the best interpretation of it. I think they'll be completely changed everything, which, do I think it needs to completely change? No, I think there should be a lot of quality of life improvements that can still be added. Just like you probably remember on the soldier selection screen, there's now a button for enlist soldiers at the bottom. And also if you enlist soldiers there, then you can see immediately what their perk points are, and you can decide whether you want to send them to the rare immediately. That small quality of life change is really, really important. And those are the things that I thought they should prioritize on most. But if they're planning a major UI upgrade, I'm not going to complain. Honestly, I won't complain. New progression system. Now this is the thing that a lot of people have been talking about, right? If you left the game in the last year or something because you think the progression is bad, then you need to start coming back to Enlisted right now. And this is exactly the reason why. The new progression system could mean so many different things. It could mean such a variety. They did say that your progression would never be wiped from a year ago or something like that. That's probably not an exact estimate, but something around there. So your progression will never be wiped. So what the interesting debate is what they will do now. If they're going to change the entire progression system, but continue to give everybody what they've already unlocked, I'm very curious to see what might happen here. It's hard to imagine what could be the case, what they'll actually do, especially as a free-to-play game. A lot of people were talking about a specific tech tree, so you could actually pick what you wanted to level up, but I've never really thought that was actually a great idea, because people would just pick the best stuff and never play with the less useful stuff or whatever. I think it would decrease the variety you see in game, which I don't think is a good thing, but I'm going to hope it's not that. That's just my opinion. But, what are your opinions on it? Let me know. What do you think it's going to be? Because I'm sure lots of you have more experience in game development than I do. I'm just a dude, I'm literally just a dude, man. New battlefield in the Pacific. Now, this could be so many different things, right? People have always talked about Iwo Jima. People have talked about Palulu. People have talked about Midway. Midway, honestly, would be amazing to me. Imagine a massive naval battle. That would just... Oh, I don't know about you guys, but that would really, butter my parsnips, boys. That would top tier butter my parsnips. So the new Bastion of the Pacific could be really anything. I've no idea what it's going to be. Maybe there's already clues in the data mine, which I haven't actually looked at. If you look in the game files or in the mission editor, could be some clues there. Maybe not yet, but there will be in the coming weeks and months. There definitely will be. New type of aircraft weapons. Now, this could be interesting. I know there are some very avid pilots in our Discord who are hyped about what these could be. Could be torpedoes, could be a variety of different things. The one concern I have is that I hope Darkflow are aware of the current problem of explosive spam for infantry in, let's say, a number of the campaigns. Normandy. But honestly, considering how much they've at least mentioned once in this news release, this dev blog itself, to show that they are actually aware of what concerns and issues the player base faces, I actually have suddenly, for some reason, I have so much confidence that they know about the explosive spam problem. And assuming that I'm right and that they do know it, I'm sure that they'll have extensive testing and ways to ensure that this doesn't just mean there'll be more explosive spam in every single campaign. And for that, actually does make me very hyped, because initially the new type of aircraft weapons may scare me a little bit at heart. As a sole infantry player, as an infantry chad with bolt actions running across the ground, which is me, I would rather not get exploded every 3 seconds again, or maybe every 1.5 seconds, because if these new aircraft weapons are rather explosive. The OBT is over, the release of Enlisted. Now, I'm not a game dev, right, but I have never been a huge believer or understander of why exactly games always call themselves in beta. I've never really understood this, but hey, if that's what they want to do, fair enough. But what I do quite understand is if they have all these plans to make Enlisted such a great game, and now they want to officially announce the release, it's really, really good for publicity reasons. Because now you can say, hey, the whole game has finally been released after these massive updates you've seen in the past that improved the game massively. Especially with the new progression system, the new maps, the new classes, major UI upgrades, it just makes it look amazing. So I can see the logic in this. Obviously, it doesn't really change anything because, you know, that doesn't mean you guys will feel anything as a result of it, but it kind of just means for publicity reasons that the game is officially released and, you know, you can kind of sell it on YouTube, on Twitch as a fully released game. Which has its benefits, admittedly. Mild, but has its benefits. And then launch on something. Now, they're very cryptic about this, as kind of I expected. My initial thought, honestly, for some reason, that came to my mind, although, not really came to my mind. I was hoping for. I want to launch on the Nintendo Wii. I don't know about you guys. Imagine playing Enlisted on the Nintendo Wii. Honestly, what a game that would be. The Nintendo Wii strikes me as, imagine. I would buy a Nintendo Wii just to play Enlisted on. I'm not kidding you. I'm not joking. If this really is the Nintendo Wii, I would actually love it on. But what's more likely is probably like some platform, such as Steam or Epic Games or whatever other one you want to link to. Now, there's been so much debate on the forums, the Reddit, CC Discord, everything you could possibly name about the reasons of why Enlisted isn't on Steam and why it should be. Now, I don't really care whether it's on Steam or not. I don't think it matters. It probably won't add much to the player base. I don't think so. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. I don't know. I don't know enough about it, right? I'm not going to make a prediction and say it'll be amazing for it. But I don't think it will be on Steam because of the problems that Gaijin has had previously with War Thunder going on Steam. I think it's much more likely to be on Epic Games or some other platform that I guess we don't really know about, which could be very hype depending on what it is, but I think Steam is very unlikely. That's my personal opinion. I don't think it will be Steam. Epic Games seems more likely to me, but if they were actually going to write it on there, like where the wooden cracks are being shown, you might be able to see some letters saying Epic Games because Steam's a lot shorter in character length, so I could be wrong, or maybe they just didn't add it for the sake of, you know, making it look nice. I don't know. But I don't think it's Steam. It could be. I don't think it is. New campaign and new format. So they mentioned this twice actually. New campaign, new format, which kind of does imply that they're going to do them in increments, so steps. I would still recommend watching this video if you want my actual predictions on what this will be. But France was my top suggestion and my top prediction. A lot of people have been talking about Winter War. I don't think it should be Winter War. It's going to be so similar to the others. And that would actually defeat the whole purpose of them mentioning themselves that they know about the issues of splitting player base across campaigns. When Winter War would literally be Moscow and Stalingrad campaigns put together. Like, I just don't understand the point. I really don't get the point in doing that. I don't think it's particularly helpful in terms of uniqueness to the game. Like, everyone would just play as the Finns, but then they'll probably just put Germans everywhere instead of the Finns. I don't know. Depending on what period they use, obviously. I'm not very hyped about the Winter War. I'll still play it if it comes out, but France is probably more important to attract more of a player base, but yeah, I could be wrong. I do think a more Asian theater would be better, like China versus Japan. Honestly, what a campaign idea that would be. They just say in a new format, which does imply to me that they'll be using this new progression system, which makes a lot of sense, because why would they mention the progression system before mentioning the new campaigns, like as you move to the right, which makes a lot of sense. That would be the new format. So wherever the new progression system is, likely the campaign will be that. I could be wrong, but that's what this image suggests to me. Then there's 2 others which are kind of blocked out at the bottom, so, you know, this could kind of be anything. It's really, really difficult to say what it would be. They haven't given us any clues whatsoever, and because it's so far to the right, it does imply that it'll be really, really late into the year, so I don't know what it's going to be. We likely won't know, at least for, my guess is around summer. Then we might have a few indications of what it might be through looking at the game files, through looking at the mission editor, etc. But, you know, it's impossible to speculate on what these could be. Considering they hid them, surely these are huge things, right? Surely they're massive. Has to be. Because why would you bother to cover them up if they weren't? Or we could be being trolled, and they didn't actually have any other things to add here. So they just put... they just added a bit of graphics to show a bit of crack in the brick. So honestly, we could be being trolled here. That's genuinely a thing that could be happening. If we understand the snail and the ways of the snail. So it genuinely could be nothing. And the last thing, new type of ground vehicle with unique mechanics. This, you know, this could be a variety of different things. Unique mechanics is what kind of interests me. Ground vehicles... Honestly, if you've seen any of my Twitch streams, I'm a big infantry player. Infantry is what I use. So would I even use these ground vehicles? Probably, to test them out, but probably not beyond that, unless they were supremely unique or interesting in some way, which they could be. They could be. I'm probably not the best person to predict and speculate on what that might be, so I'm sure you guys in the comments will have much better ideas than I will. I am so optimistic for 2023 in Enlisted. It is absolutely insane. This could not have come at a better time. This could not have been better. So honestly, what I would say is to make sure your friends come back to this game and show them this, because I'm sure it addresses so many concerns they have about the game. But that is literally everything listed on the roadmap for 2023. But if you want to discuss about these things live with me, then make sure you follow me on Twitch. Link is in the description. We go live on Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays at 6 p.m. GMT. And make sure you check out my podcast, which will be coming very, very soon. Make sure you're in the Discord so you are in the know when it comes out. And trust me, it's going to be so, so hype. But now that you know all of this and you do want to come back to the game, you probably need to go and watch this video on tips and tricks that you probably don't know that will help you improve at this game once this roadmap comes into effect. I'm telling you right now, it'll be important. So you should watch it.